Hey there. So today I'm going to be giving my thoughts and take on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Kesey, and a little bit about the backgrounds. Just gonna move this back if I can, of the making of this book, which I thought was really interesting. Was that Kesey actually spent the night shift in a mental institution in Virginia. I think it was 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. while deriving the inspiration of this book. So the fact that it's so firmly rooted in reality is an extra fear and verisimilitude that can be found in the themes and messages of the book, which allows me to go to my next point, which I want to avoid plot summary to avoid spoilers, but more kind of revel in the themes of the book, which is that it's not strictly, in my mind, in my personal opinion, anti-institutionalism, anti-psychiatry, nor is it anti-rebellion and anti-individualism. It kind of allows you to make your own opinion, because you have McMurphy, who is causing, a disturbance, and whether you think it's positive or negative is up to you to decide. But people are being helped and are looking at life in a new way, just like you would compare to in a democracy rather than a tyranny. They're having the freedom to do so. They can laugh. Laughter is power. Being free to have humor is power. And the narrator, who is Chief Bromden, the Indian, as they call him in the book, is this very large Indian man who is known to be deaf and mute in the institution, even though he is very capable of speaking and listening. It's only when the presence of this enigmatic and interesting character, McMurphy, arrives in the institution that he begins to reconcile his past and, kind of understand why he may have tuned out to the world a little more. Which brings me to another point, which is interesting, which is that the characters are very, very multifaceted, because in a way they are mentally ill and distraught, like Billy Babbitt, for example, who seems to be this 30-year-old man who has the maturity of a little boy, both in his speech and in the way that he presents himself to the world. So you have that way in which there is genuine mental illness and trauma, but then there's this other framing that the book manages to accomplish extremely well, which is that it's all manageable and it's all human. It's not much different to be in a mental institution than it is to be a regular member of society with your own problems, especially for the acutes, as they call them in the book, who are the people that are much more, manageable in terms of their issues, rather than being vegetables, as the book calls the people who are too foregone to even have lively commentary with other human beings. But even those vegetables have a response to McMurphy. So points to another question of even the people who are most far gone are maybe just not being treated properly. There's so much right with this book and what it says, not only about psychiatry and its commentary on psychology and psychiatry, but also in real life. Because personally, I don't like domineering and dominating people. I've been exposed to them throughout my life, as most people have. And this book is a testament to not necessarily fight those people, but not let those people get to your head, whatever cost it may take. You need that inner McMurphy confidence and swagger to know that you're not going to belittle me. You can try to belittle me, but you're not going to succeed. And it may take your life. It may take your whole life for that fight, but it's worth it, because the bullies should not win. And so thematically, it's not just confined to the institutionalism that the book brings up, but also a more broad philosophical commentary on good versus evil, big versus little, numbers versus power. So many things that this book brings to mind. And a book's powerful when you're going through your day and an interaction just instantly brings you back to the book itself. I was dealing with a manager at my job who was extremely belittling to me and disrespectful. And I just thought about McMurphy's smiling face and how would he react? Cool, nonchalant swagger like that. You're gonna let it get to you, or are you gonna try to outsmart the system and the people in the system? Because you gotta communicate in a way that is adaptable to the system while also trying to escape it, which can be seemingly impossible. But all that to say, wonderful book, beautifully written, and tons of verisimilitude and resonance for anybody who especially struggles with people who are controlling, overbearing, and domineering. Definitely read it. Did you read it? What were your thoughts on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? I would love to read in the comments. Oh, and I'll just read one passage that stuck out to me of the many, which is Chief Brahman, the narrator, an Indian of the book, said something that stood out to me. He said, Papa says if you don't watch it, people will force you one way or another into doing what they think you should do, or into being mule stubborn and doing the opposite out of spite. I love that passage, and it points out to when you let people get under your skin by doing what they would want you to do, you are thus appeasing them, but by also thinking of them and trying to avoid doing what they would want you to do, you are also letting them get under your skin. So this idea that you have to completely disregard this negative influence, which could be nearly impossible, but very beautifully written and great story, great book. Can't wait to watch the movie as well.